Hi everybody. I thought that I would make this video for you because I've had a couple questions about what I expect the last report to be. Taylor sent me a note. Sorry, Taylor, don't mean to single you out, but I was worried actually after I read Taylor's note that she was trying to do more than I actually am requiring of her, and that made me think that I should really clarify with everybody what exactly it is that I am looking for. All right, so in the course content folder, you've probably all found it, but just in case you haven't seen it, there is this instructions for final social entrepreneurship project. Yes. So the instructions had you do some things as you go. For example, the first thing you set an appointment to meet and shadow with your entrepreneur, but putting that to the side, the first thing you were supposed to do before you even got there was to do some research on the background of the social problem that your entrepreneur motivated your entrepreneur to do what he or she is doing. So there's always a social problem, remember, because otherwise they're just an entrepreneur. To be a social entrepreneur, obviously they had to care about a social problem. So I asked that you do some research. My first thing was for you to come up with a bibliography, but hopefully that bibliography, which was just a list of places to read about it, you actually did read about it. And the things you were looking for were different articles, books, stories, videos, whatever you could find, website information, whatever, that talked about the scope of that social problem, including, some statistics. If you're talking about child hunger in Arizona or in Phoenix, then you would want statistics on how many kids are food insecure, for example. And what are the barriers? Why is this problem with us? Why, if it's an objectionable problem, why hasn't society figured out how to make it go away? What keeps that problem embedded in our system? Oh, sorry, my phone went off. I turned it off. So it's it's that kind of thing. What is causing this problem? Why can't we get rid of this problem or solve this problem? The third thing is, who are the stakeholders? And what I mean by that is, obviously you've got the entrepreneur and what the entrepreneur is doing, and you've got the people that the entrepreneur cares about, the people that they're trying to solve the problem for. If it's people, could be environment or whatever. But there are also others that care. When we did when we took Melissa's case that she created and we worked on it through class, and we thought about who are all the stakeholders. Well, the social workers, the foster care parents, the banks. So who are, for your social entrepreneur and for their cause, who are the stakeholders? Who care about this? Who might be partners for this entrepreneur? There might be stakeholders that are actually opposing. For example, if your entrepreneur, none of them do this, but just by way of example, if your entrepreneur opened an abortion clinic, or conversely an adoption center, in order to offer a particular alternative, there would be people who were trying to undermine them potentially on the other side of that issue. And then getting to the next one, public policies or debates, just to go to that exact same example, some of these things will not be controversial. It's not terribly controversial that we would really like all children in our state, in fact, all people in our state, to have a meal, to have a roof over their head, to have an education. But some things are controversial, and so there will be policy debates. And then even like for the homeless, there are always policy debates on how do we serve them. For domestic violence, there are policy debates on how do we serve victims and so forth. So if there are policy debates around this issue, I just want you to mention them. If they've been in the news recently, if they're hot political items, of course, mention that. And then what programs or other projects are currently being used to address. So for example, say you've got an entrepreneur who is providing services to blind children around, Braille books and stuff like that. Are there other projects like that? And for example, I still believe that there is an organization that does nothing but record readings for kids who are blind. And what other services that are similar to what your entrepreneur wants to do, and possibly, just kind of give the lay of the land. It doesn't have to be too extensive, just so that anybody who doesn't know anything about that particular cause has sort of a holistic systems picture of what's going on. Okay, so I actually wanted you to do that before you went out to visit your entrepreneur, because I wanted you to know something about his or her work before you got there, so that you would, ask intelligent questions, and so that what you learned when you were there would have more meaning for you personally, because you already had a base of knowledge. But I also do want you to write up your research, which is what it says in your instructions. Just write up your research. It doesn't have to be 20 pages. It could just touch on those subject matters. Some of them, like the policy thing, may not even apply, but just go through and give me the context so that I have the same understanding that you have. Okay, then the next thing you were supposed to do was shadow your entrepreneur. I trust that you all did make it out to shadow your entrepreneur. And there was a shadowing experience report form, and that needs to be filled out, okay, and turned in. And then I asked you to develop a list of interview questions, and I think you've already turned those into the Dropbox. And so you don't have to do anything else with that. Hopefully you took that list with you, and it was the basis of your interview. You hopefully created a video. You know that we have 5 people in 50 minutes, and so you need to edit your video down to something short, like not more than 3 minutes. And what that probably means is you're not going to be able to have people just watch your whole interview that you did. You're probably going to have to run through it and crop out whatever isn't important and just leave in the highlights, the things that they say that clarify. Okay, so now that you've done that, let's talk about, and that's it, basically. That's what you're going to turn in. And you will already have turned in most of it. Your research bibliography was turned in. You probably haven't written up the research itself, so that may still be left to turn in. Your interview questions should already be in. I need your shadowing experience report, which goes in the Dropbox, and then a link to your video. So that's it. Aside from writing up your research so that I have the contextual understanding, there's really nothing else for you to write up. So especially to you, Taylor, but to everybody, don't overwork it. Just write up your research so that I have the same knowledge and expertise, so to speak, context for what you've learned that you got for yourself. And that could be 2 or 3 pages if that's what it is. It might be more if you found a lot of other stuff that was interesting. You don't have to show me everything. You just have to show me enough that I have a picture of what the landscape looks like for that particular subject matter or cause. Okay, so let's just talk for a minute or two about the presentation. I'm sending out invitations today to your entrepreneurs. They know the invitations are coming. What they didn't know was which of the 2 presentation days they would be invited. And hopefully they will come, but probably not all of them will. Even if we just get 2 or 3 there, it'll be interesting to have a chance to meet and greet. So when you present, this is what you can expect to do. First of all, you need to basically introduce your entrepreneur. So the way to do that is to say, this is Sandy Price, and her entrepreneurship project, or her business, or whatever, her organization, depending on what they have, picks up kids from school and buses them to tutors and after school projects that help enhance their learning experience. Okay, I just made that up. I of course don't do that, but if I did, then that would be enough of an introduction. And then the entrepreneurs, then you're going to basically pick out 1 or 2 things that you learned working with this entrepreneur that you want to share with the class. Okay, you're not going to tell the whole story. They've now got, they've got the person's name, they've got the thing that the person is doing, and just tell them a couple of the most interesting things. Tell the class a couple of the most interesting things that you learned working with that entrepreneur and following him or her around. Then show your video. After the video, I'm going to let the rest of the class ask you or your entrepreneur a question or 2, and then you'll turn the video link in with your write-up on your research or whatever, and that's it really. And then hopefully having the entrepreneurs around will be informative. And if we have time, we'll ask each of them to talk, but I'm guessing there won't be that much time. All right. So does everybody follow what is wanted from you? If you don't, I will be happy to talk with you by phone, or we can have a Google Hangout thing, or I will be in the office tomorrow downtown, which probably most of you won't be. But if you wanted to come downtown, if you email me, I can figure something out. Otherwise, you guys text me. I think you all have my phone number by now. It's 602-317-4546. You can either email me or text me. And if you want to set up something, I'm happy to do it. But please don't make this into more than it needs to be. The work is not in regurgitating a huge long report. The work is in going down there, meeting with the people, making your impressions, and so forth. All right, get a hold of me if you need me. And that's it. See you Tuesday.